for many opportunities, as we do have a lot of potentials. All this and more we are going to discuss with our dear guest live here in the studio, who is an expert in the matter, Mr. Abdurrahman Megdi, entrepreneurship expert. Thank you very much for being with us, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Well, good morning, Mr. Abdurrahman. First of all, tell us about your insight concerning promotion of tourism and in a creative and different way.
Yeah, I think in my experience, it's like a naturally evolving phenomenon when it comes to entrepreneurship and people moving towards self-employment globally. And because foreigners especially consider Egypt a fabulous touristic destination, they want to work and also they want to have fun in Egypt. So a pattern of activity that started happening in the past years was what is called co-working spaces in touristic and coastal cities around Egypt. By now, I think we have 3 different co-working spaces in Al-Gona and Dahab, and there are others evolving in Hurghada and other cities. And the idea here is that there are Egyptians who are like self-employed, they work in knowledge economy, so they are not associated with a specific space, they can work through the internet. And also there is a lot of foreigners on the other side who work at the same industry, like designing websites, writing code, editing and writing, publishing, all these are...
just a very quick and brief definition of this word, the knowledge economy?
Yeah, the knowledge economy is all the activities that has to do with knowledge. So it's not about trade, it's not products, not physical products, but rather it's about using the knowledge and expertise in doing business. Things that's like almost virtual, like writing, editing, designing. So it depends on the scale of the individual other than any trade activities, which is actually a huge industry globally. So when it comes to the economy, this is a huge industry, and I think in Egypt we still haven't tapped...
I mean, how I can improve my knowledge economy? I mean, courses, for example, should I take courses? Should I train myself, self-trained? This can be online, on the internet, going to certain places. I mean, how?
I think the challenge usually is not in the lack of knowledge, but it's rather on... if I have the knowledge, how to use this knowledge to become an entrepreneur, how to use this knowledge to offer services in the economy. So I think in Egypt there is a lot of people with a lot of fabulous expertise when it comes to the area of their interests and expertise. But the challenge is usually, how do I offer this service globally? So what we're talking about is that these co-working spaces, or what we could call it clubs, in these coastal cities can be a hub for those knowledge economy entrepreneurs in Egypt to go there and to serve the global economy through these hubs. And the same thing would be for other entrepreneurs globally. They would look at these clubs or destinations in coastal Egyptian cities as places to go to do business and also have fun. So they would come for a week. They would sort out what they want to do. If they want to build a new website in a week, they're going to find the Egyptian professionals to do the design, write the copy, publish it and host it. And during this week, while between the meeting, they're going to go for snorkeling, climbing, whatever they want to do. So I think it's a very fun package. If this is being offered to like foreign entrepreneurs, they would come. They're going to have fun. They're going to do business.
Now, to what extent is that applied in Egypt? Like you've mentioned, there are some, but to what extent is it, and how workable and feasible is it?
Well, yeah, that's a challenge because these become an individual initiative. So it's someone who sees the opportunity in doing that. For example, a German lady who visited Dahab, and she loved the city and she wanted to stay there, but she didn't have an idea of what she wanted to do. She thought of the idea that lots of her friends are coming to Dahab, so why not to start this club to get them to do the business, to do the work in this place, and also to attract Egyptians who can actually work with them. So this happens as an individual effort. So far, there are some projects that are being talked about, like in technology in these remote areas, but we haven't seen something very solid to this extent, and also not packaged in a way to attract foreigners to do business in Egypt. There are some consideration that has to do with the furnishing of the places. There has to be consideration about internet connection, which is actually the top on the list because like foreigners are used to very fast internet speed, so they have to see something reasonable once they come to Egypt. So the infrastructure for internet speed, the furnishing and the packaging, and the maintenance and sustainability of these clubs. I think that actually makes a very interesting national project between like trade, international relations, and tourism. This is a very attractive area to attract tourists to do business and to connect with Egypt.
I want to return once again to the human being. I think that many Egyptians knew how to be experts in this field in specific, but they don't know how to convey the message, how to implement this on the ground, how to deal with people. And here, by the way, I'm speaking about simple Egyptians, not that well educated, not that well cultured, you name it. But they knew how to use their skills, but they are not directed well. How we can solve this problem, or this is a very sensitive equation?
Well, I think there are two aspects to that. I think, yeah, as you mentioned, like knowledge is something people acquire with time. So usually if someone has stayed for 12, 15 years in the industry, they become an expert. They pass by all the experiences that they need, and they have the expertise. Here comes two challenges. The first has to do with what you mentioned as a service culture, is that I am a service provider. There are some specific regulations and ways to deliver the service and to maintain the level of service with the customer. I think this is something that we're lacking in Egypt when it comes to the service culture and me becoming a service provider and serving the clients and how communication should go, how should I get paid.
This is it, because this is very important, how I can solve this. How I can move this person from being not knowing even the potentials he has to someone who is that much successful and using all what he has. Because we are talented. I mean, Egyptians learn very easily. They knew how to absorb knowledge, but to use this is the issue.
Yeah, I think here comes the role of training and coaching and also experiences that gather the Egyptians with their foreign counterparts. Like some of the best experiences when you bring the Egyptian who do have the talent and the expertise and they stay for 2 weeks to mingle with foreign entrepreneurs and to understand the qualities by which they work. Like I know lots of Egyptians who started working at the age of 18 with foreign entrepreneurs, and after 4 years, they cannot relate to the Egyptian market. So it's about the experience and the standards by which you get used to work. So if you start working according to a specific standard of service, it's going to be very difficult for you to downgrade. So if we benchmark the service culture and the ability to market and promote by offering training and coaching experiences for Egyptians working on knowledge economy and offering them the opportunity for actual real experience and projects through which they can actually start benchmarking themselves to a specific standard. So these are the two ways to enhance the likelihood of the knowledge economy and knowledge entrepreneurs in Egypt to offer a service globally.
Now, as an entrepreneurship expert, to what extent have you worked on these new projects or initiatives?
Yeah, I think because these already are initiatives that's happening in Egypt, so I get the chance to get in direct contact with all these initiatives. And what I can see is because it depends on a specific individual, there is usually the financial risk and lots of efforts that's actually on the weight of a single individual. So there is no structure to what's happening. It's just an individual initiative, and it comes with challenges. So, for example, if business is not big enough, you're going to have to move to another area, so there's a shift in location. One thing that's happened is that the German lady wanted to take a 1-month vacation. She had to shut down the club because she's in a vacation. She doesn't have a staff to manage the club. So all these are some challenges to getting these to operate to a specific standard. I think if there is an investment in a company that would go there and set up some really stable clubs managed properly, and it's sending consistent marketing messages to attract.
Then the way to achieve this is to have companies already there to manage this and to be on permanent basis. I mean, not something temporarily.
Yeah, and that requires investment, and investment requires infrastructure. So it's about the risk, like someone or a company taking the risk to go and set up something there. And I think we have seen some examples for foreign entities coming to places like El Gona. But I think there is a chance for other mainstream areas, or much more like areas like Dahab and other destinations.
This was my coming question regarding the destinations, regarding the touristic locations in which you see a lot of potentials are there and just waiting for someone to discover them.
Yeah, I think Dahab comes on top of the list because maybe because it's my personal favorite, but also it attracts a type of character that's in a knowledge economy, and they actually looking to relax and stay on the long term. So if you go to Dahab, you're going to find lots of foreigners who are staying there for 6 months, for a year, for 3 years sometimes. So these people come and they want to actually settle down in the town of Dahab. And I think that provides an opportunity to build the what we talked about in terms of the service culture, the infrastructure necessary for them to settle there and accordingly build a momentum and build an environment that supports business locally and globally.
Now, I'm quite interested in what you were talking about, that German club, for instance. Now, you're saying that she's offering them services online. So are they doing services that takes place in Egypt, or are they just visiting and they are just checking on their business abroad? Because what now it's mainly the internet. So that will be not like an industry or investing within the country itself. It's not like importing, exporting, or having a solid project in Egypt. So I'd like to understand more, like, is it just facilitating them to run their personal business abroad, or is it creating businesses within the country itself?
Actually, it can go both ways. I think for the time being, because they are visiting, mostly they are working on their own businesses. And if you look at it, what do people do in companies, in any type of business? You're going to find like 60, 80%, depending on the company, is something that's to be done online. And most of those who come as individuals, they usually have their own websites, and they are selling products and services online, which is actually a huge industry. We have seen recently in the region some billion-dollar investment in like e-commerce websites. Mm-hmm. So these entrepreneurs are running these type of businesses. It doesn't have to be a small business. Mm-hmm. They could be on a laptop. You're going to see them on a laptop. And actually, it's a huge business online. So most of them actually work within the industry of technology and internet business and knowledge economy. So these are the industries. But there's other companies that might want to do what they call trade, which is also a very big type of training businesses. We know the corporate training style that you go inside the company and do the corporate training. There is a new model, which is a retreats, is that you could be a company in Germany and you want to train 5 of your employees. You get them.
Yeah, and thinking out of the box. And so we do have much more questions, but unfortunately we're running out of time. So we're going to leave you, sir, with a promise to see you again in another episode of our breakfast show. Mr. Abdurrahman Magdi, the entrepreneur expert we have today, thank you very much for your input, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, sir. And that brings us to the end of this episode of Breakfast Show. But first of all, I have to thank my colleague. Thank you very much, Nermeen.
Thank you, Rasha. Tomorrow is another day with another crew. Stay tuned only on Nile TV International.